What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Man Up coming at you with a video here. Houston Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts after the game. Now, before I get into a few things here, I do want to talk about a couple of things. I saw that the Texans traded for uh, Oakland Raiders cornerback. I cannot pronounce his name, but his last name is Conley, I think it is. But I cannot pronounce his first name. But I did see that the Texans did make a trade for him. So, uh, Garion, I might say his name wrong. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try it, but traded for him. So then also too, I saw that Orlando Scandrick got released by the Philadelphia Eagles. Wonder, wonder would the Texans ever go for him? Yeah, I wonder would Texans even go for Eric Berry? Don't know. We'll see. But anyway, because our secondary is injured, with Bradley Roby out, and then Gibson out too as well. Then our wide receiver core is got a little injured there with Kenny Stills out. He might be coming back soon, but he's out. Uh, and then with Will Fuller out for a few weeks. So, see what happens. So let's go ahead and get into this game. So the Texans did end up losing this game to the Indianapolis Colts 23-30. I had them winning this game 2017. And I did think this was going to be a close game, but I did think we were going to win it, but it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this game a little bit. I know the first thing that people is going to talk about is that in the graphs, if I'm saying it right, that the referees had stopped the Texans touchdown that he threw to DeAndre Hopkins. But I could see where they're coming from with that, trying to protect the quarterback because he was stopped. But then also, too, if you go back and you watch that play, I think that was the linebacker for the Colts came up and hit Deshaun Watson. So if you stop in the play and the linebacker come up and hit him, that should be a roughing the pass, not roughing, yeah, roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness call. So that should have been an automatic first down on that play. Now I'm not trying to make any excuses. We lost the game. It is what it is. Time to move on. But this is a recap of the Colts versus the Texans. Now, also too, what I want to talk about, of course, a lot of injuries, but I want to talk about the Texans have committed a lot of penalties in that game. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 10 or 11 penalties. Cannot happen. Several false starts, several holding calls, things of that nature. Cannot have that. So excuse me. So with that being said, by the time we get to this next game playing the Raiders, we can't have all these holding calls. And with that being said, Texans traded for Conley, and he been great play his old team, just like we did last year when we traded for Demaryius Thomas, and the very next game played the Broncos where he came from. Kind of strange. I'm starting to think that's a trend for the Texans now. But with that being said, though, man, we do have to clean up these injuries. I mean, excuse me, not injuries. Well, injuries too, but I meant to say we have to clean up these penalties. We cannot have all these silly penalties that cost us the game. If I'm not, excuse me, excuse me, sound like I'm losing my voice again. If I'm not mistaken, when I looked at it before, I might not be remember it correctly, but it was like 10 penalties for like 80, 90 yards or something like that. I might be wrong about that number, but because I looked at that the day of the game, so I might have forgotten that a little bit. But we're gonna have to clean that up. Now Deshaun Watson did throw another pick in that game. That does bring his season total to 4, which is still not too bad, but can't have that. He did get sacked in this game, so the 2 games that he went without getting sacked, uh, 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 got came to an end there. So And I do know we have a couple of injuries on the offensive line, and the Colts defense is not bad. So that's why I had predicted this to be in a close game, which it still was a close game, a one-score game, 30-23. Now let's get into that safety call that Bill O'Brien had called. Now I could see his point of view on that. I just wouldn't have done it. I did see, the defense was stepping up, was doing their part, but you cannot give them extra points. I would have just kicked it off. I get where he was coming from, give them the 2 points, and then kick from like the 20-yard line. Instead of from the end zone, give them a shorter field. So I get where he was going with that. So I see where he was coming from, because when he did that, it was like a minute and 50-something seconds left or something like that in the game. So I could see Bill O'Brien's mindset on it. I just don't think it was a good call. Even if it would have worked, I still don't think it was a good call. But he took a chance, he took a gamble, and I commend him for that. Just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Now, also too, I do want to go ahead and say this here. The trade deadline is coming real quick for the Texans, and I know the Texans are still trying to still trying to make trades. And I do not understand. What the Texans are trying to do right here. I understand, they're trying to beef up the secondary with the injuries, and they already beefed up the wide receiver core, so they're not too much worried about that. But I think what we need to do is beef up our offensive line. So I get where the Texans are coming from. It's just not a good idea on how they're trying to do it. So, with all that being said, though, man, with this game here, I'm kind of disappointed in the Texans, and a little bit of the play calling as well, too, because some of this play calling, it didn't make any sense to me. I did think that we should, because I put a lot of this on our defense and mainly the secondary, because Colts had too many open receivers. Too many. Too many open receivers, too many times. And we gotta clean that up. We have to. Because our next opponent is the Raiders, and then we go overseas to play the Jaguars. And then we have our bye. So we got time to clean that up. Now, so with all that being said, though, Texans made a trade for Conley. From what I've read, they gave the Raiders the 3rd round pick that we got from the Seahawks for trading Clowney. So we basically not losing anything, I guess you could say. So so let's see what Conley can do in a Texans uniform going up against his old team, because he's finna ready to play them right off the bat. So with all that being said, man, go ahead in this video. Just go ahead. Just want to say I'm disappointed with all the penalties on the Texans. I'm not saying that's an excuse or anything. I'm saying that excuse me, I don't know what's going on here. I'm saying that we got to clean this up, because it's not a good look for us to have all these penalties. Because we did have a lot of penalties in the Chiefs game, and we had quite a few in the Atlanta Falcons game as well too. So we got to clean this up. So with all that being said, man, I'm finna go ahead and get up out of here, man. I'm finna chunk the deuce at you. But before I go, I gotta say this here. You was in the man cave, and I'm finna go ahead and kick you out the man cave. Holla.